Electroheads, welcome back to the channel. My name's Eilis and today I'm going to be doing the ultimate electric road bike face-off. They are behind me, of course. Now, one of these bikes behind me, the e28, you guys actually had a really positive response to it when I was chatting about it in a video that I did recently about how electric bikes changed my life. I talk about my hip operation that I went through and how they helped me through it, and also how I got hit by a bus at one point on a bike and how they got me back on the roads. A lot has happened. It was a journey, and if you haven't seen that video, make sure to check it out by clicking the link above. But let me introduce you to the two contenders today. First up, we have the Tenways CGO600. This has come out the gates very strong, which was back in 2021, and it is a firm favourite. We also have, hot on its heels, the Estarli e28. They are a British bike brand with a very beautiful lean frame that packs a punch in the motor. I've got 5 determining criteria that we've developed here at Electroheads HQ to make sure well, that was very classy, wasn't it?
You stay classy, Eilis.
Where was I? 5 determining criteria that we've developed here at Electroheads HQ to make sure that we cover everything that you need to know, so stick with me. The Tenway sports an aluminium frame to keep it as lightweight as possible. It's the lightest of the two, weighing in at just 15 kilograms. The CGO600 is similarly matched to the Estarli with a 250 watt hub motor, kitted out with torque sensoring and a max output of 40 Newton meters of torque, which is limited up to 15.5 miles per hour in line with UK regulations. This of course will depend on where you live in the world. The Tenways hides a battery with a Samsung/LG/Panasonic cells that can deliver up to 43 miles of range in one charge. What differentiates this bike to the Estarli is that it's a single speed, and rather than a chain, it has a Gates carbon belt that requires barely any maintenance. It's also got integrated lights and hydraulic brakes which are included, plus puncture resistant tyres as standard on 28-inch wheels. Choose between a medium-sized frame or a large depending on your height, which can take up to 120 kilograms max weight. Colours on the Tenways include lime green, midnight black, sky blue, which I have today, and Arctic blue. So we've got the usual bike brands of Textro and Gates, which I've heard of before, but I'd never actually come across MyVice before Tenways. So MyVice makes the sensor, the controller, and the motor of this bike, and although it's a bit of an unknown brand to me, I have had this bike for over 6 months. I've ridden it nearly every day, and the parts have definitely stood the test of time. They're still working really, really well. I'll actually talk about the components themselves and how they work together in the actual riding section of this bike, but overall I've been very, very impressed with everything that this bike has to offer. The security, oh, you can't see that there. The security code, I don't actually know if you can see if that's flashing, but I'm just going to turn this off and show you. So when you switch it on, can you see that at all? Let's try and go super, super close. There you go. It's a little bit flashy. So when you switch this on, you have a 4-pin code that you can put in. So the factory setting is 0000 and you're in. However, you can change that code to a unique 4-pin digit that is specific to you. So that means if anybody tries to switch on your bike and use it, they cannot get into it unless they know that code. That is a fantastic security feature. Well done, Tenways. Next up is the carbon belt drive that we have here. So Tenways guarantees 30,000 kilometers of maintenance-free travel. And the final star feature is the fact that Tenways has an app. That's right, so you can get all your stats and spec that you need. Now, I've actually got a new phone fairly recently, and I don't actually really use the app as much, but I know that this is a really, really big deal for a lot of people if they want to know a little bit more about their ride and their journey and how far they've traveled over X amount of months of having their ride. So if that is something that is a bit of you, then this is obviously a fantastic addition. The Estarli e28's frame is also made from high-strength 6061 grade aluminium to make it corrosion resistant and lightweight. In total, this this e-bike weighs in more than the Tenways, but still at an impressive 16.5 kilograms. The 250 watt brushless hub motor with torque sensoring kicks out a max 40 Newton meters of torque to push you up steeper terrain and assist you to up to 15.5 miles per hour. Inside the sleek frame is a Samsung battery with a range claim between 37 to 56 miles. But thanks to 8 gears, you can technically ride this thing unlimited without any power assist. You can even spec up the tyres to a Schwalbe puncture resistant option. Disc brakes and integrated lights also come included, and the frame itself is marked as medium/large for riders who are 5'6" to 6'4" with a max weight of 110 kilograms. Choose from a selection of colours including bolt blue, night black and burnt burgundy. In terms of components, there are a lot of recognisable brands here. You've got Shimano, Altus and Tektro as well, so there are no alarm bells ringing in terms of quality. A lot of other bike brands do use these parts as well. So the warranty on this bike is 2 years, and because it is a British brand, and if you are in the UK, that does mean that you can get this fixed right here in the same country. You don't need to ship it off to where the bike is built, if that's somewhere in China or somewhere like that for other bike brands, so that is a good plus. But I want to talk quickly about some style features on this bike. The gears, which obviously is a big difference with this one and the Tenways. Obviously Tenways is single speed, and it just means that you are able to tackle more hilly terrain and differing terrain and inclines a lot easier than maybe you would with the Tenways. And finally, it's something that you might have picked up on, is the battery itself. So it is a little bit larger than the Tenways, which could make all the difference depending on how long your commute is. All right, let's get on to the second bit of test criteria, which is safety and security. How good are the brakes? How reliable is the bike? Let's test it out. Don't forget, helmet on. Safety first, everyone. This is a brake test. This is serious business. Tenways has hydraulic brakes, whereas the e28 has mechanical disc brakes. And it's argued that hydraulic brakes are better just because, I've got a lot of flies flying around me, because it takes a lot less pressure when you squeeze the brake to make them react and respond. And actually they are better at distributing heat, which does mean that they can last longer than the mechanical disc brake. So that's just something to bear in mind. You might have to be changing the brakes maybe just a touch more often with the Estarli compared to the Tenways, but it's a small little thing to note here, and it's always good to get your brakes changed every now and then to keep you safe. So if I were to rate the brakes on these bikes, I would give the Tenways a 5 and the Estarli a 4. Just a really quick thing I want to point out here that you have probably picked up on is the fact that the Estarli has a stand and my Tenways does not. It has been so annoying not having a stand, and it just looks a bit pants, doesn't it? Now, you are supposed to get a stand and mudguards free with your Tenways when you purchase it. However, I just didn't get one, did I? Why did I do that? That's way better. What was I thinking?
We've all made mistakes.
Before I get fully into this review, firstly, if you haven't already, make sure to hit subscribe, because we've got fresh content coming out like this weekly. And a little birdie actually told me that 80% of you lot haven't actually hit subscribe. So if you're that 80%, please make sure to do that, because we need all your support and your love. And obviously we've got great videos that always come out all the time, so yeah, hit subscribe. Let's talk about performing and handling. So I'm on the Estarli currently, and the main thing between the two actually is the fact that obviously both are 250 watt brushless hub motors. They both output 40 Newton meters of max torque. They've both got quite sporty geometry in terms of the frame itself. So they're quite evenly matched in a sense. However, I do find, however, with the Estarli is because it has the 8 gears, it really does open up what kind of terrain that you can conquer. So I live in the city, I don't have many hills at all where I am, and so the Tenways is fantastic because it's only got those 3 power levels of assist, and it means that I can get about and around town and not worry too much about hills or climbs or anything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it does handle on hills as well. It's got the exact same output, torque, power as this one right here, but just being able to change up the gears a little bit does mean that you have a bit more control when it comes to tackling those hills when you need to. So if you live on hillier terrain, then I would say you are probably better matched with the E28. Also, it's a lot more difficult to ride the Tenways when there is no power. This is super easy to ride when you've got the power turned off, because of the fact that you have 8 gears. Both the Tenways and the Estarli have torque sensoring.
What that means?
If you haven't heard that before, is just the style in terms of how the motor picks up how you're pedaling with your feet and how much power to output. So there's a cadence sensor and a torque sensor. The torque sensor is the more sophisticated option. The more I push, the more power that comes out of the motor. Now I find that the Tenways sensor itself is absolutely beautiful. It's smooth like caramel. This is a fantastic sensor as well. One thing I would say is the fact that the sensor on this bike, sometimes when you stop pedaling, it will actually continue to push for a few seconds longer. Some people love this. My colleague Rich, he absolutely loves the fact that you can just stop pedaling and it will just keep giving you a little push. Whereas with the Tenways, the moment you stop, the bike stops with it. So say if you're going up a hill or something like with this one, and you're getting a little bit exhausted and you just need like a split-second break, having that little added boost when you stop is brilliant. But when you're in stop-start traffic, it can get a little bit tedious. So again, just something to think about. Think about your commute. Think about your ride day in, day out. How would it best suit you? Both the Estarli and the Tenways are lightweight in their category. The Tenways obviously just comes up trumps with it being 15 kilograms, but having that extra 1.5 kilograms on the Estarli, it makes a little bit of a difference, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely easier to carry the Tenways up 3 flights of stairs compared to the Estarli, but it totally depends on where you live, where you're gonna be storing your bike. But I think there's like a marginal difference, but I wouldn't let the weight put you off between the Estarli and the Tenways. But how comfortable are the Estarli and Tenways? Well, I actually changed the seats on the Tenways when I got it because it was quite rigid. I think it's gonna be fine for some people, but I've got a bit of a bony arse, so I had to change that straight up. I've actually put that same seat onto the Estarli, not because it needed it, actually just because, how can I describe it? It's like having your favourite armchair, your favourite chair. Like being able to take that around with you wherever you go is a dream, right? If you could pick your favourite seat wherever you go, you'll take it with you. That's exactly what I've done with these bikes. So the question on everybody's lips, are these bikes value for money? Well, starting price for Tenways is 1499. Although I keep hitting things because I'm looking at the camera. However, starting price for the Estarli is £1,550. That's correct. And if you want to spec up with the mud guards and the Schwabi puncture-proof tyres, then you're going to go up to 1,680 quid. So look, there's like 100 and something pounds in it difference. And I would argue that in terms of how much you're spending, it's not really that much of a jump. I would say what it does depend on is what kind of bike that you are wanting and needing, because if you need a bike with gears, if you live in a place where there are a lot of hills and you've got lots of different terrain and inclines and you need a little bit more flexibility with that, then this is the bike for you. However, if you are a city slicker who needs to get about town, you are commuting day in, day out to work, you're in a place like London where it's pretty flat terrain and all you need is a bike with 3 power settings and a belt drive with a single speed, then this is a really fantastic option. It's been great for me. Both are beautiful, I would say, in terms of what they can deliver, in terms of power, in terms of functionality, in terms of pricing. I mean, I do get to experience a lot of electric bikes. I think these are really well priced for what they are. I know you can get cheaper bikes, I know you can. Please don't write that in the comments because I know, but there is a point where you are getting quality in terms of what you're paying for. And I do feel like when you're getting the cheaper e-bikes, they may not last as longer because of the components that come with that. If either of these 2 bikes do take your fancy, well, we have an affiliate link for the Tenways CGO600, which you can find down in the description below. And we also have the Estarli E28 on our very own Electroheads online store. Now, we've created this store because we've got a lot of people coming to us saying, what are the best e-bikes, e-rides, skateboards, scooters to buy? And if you buy an Estarli E28 from us, you are getting support from us, you're getting service from us. And if you ever need help or you have questions, then come to us and we will sort you out. Our very own dedicated team are there for you. If you decide that the Estarli E28 is a little bit of you, well, I have twisted everyone's arms at the Electroheads HQ to try and get you 5% off, and they have bowed down to my prowess. So if you use the code Eilis5, that's EILIS 5, then you're going to get 5% off this bad boy right here. That is on electroheads.com. I'm going to drop a link down in the description below. And let me know if you purchase one. I'd love to hear about it. But to wrap it up, an overall verdict. I think they were both fantastic road bikes. My overall rating, because I have to give it a rating out of 5. Oh, it's really hard. They're both brilliant. It's all about the use case, isn't it? I think if you are, like I say, a city slicker, I'm going to give this a 5-star rating. But obviously, if you're in somewhere like Bath, where I'm from, where there's some big ass hills, this might not be so much a contender for you. Whereas this is a bit more of a better option because of the gears and also those wider handlebars as well, giving you some like lovely manoeuvring as well to take on differing terrain. So I'm going to give them both 5 stars, genuinely. I'm not being generous. I've tried and tested both of these and it's top marks. But guys, look, I'm going to wrap it up here because there's a lot of chatting that's been going on from me. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If this has helped you at all, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.